به کردی نوشتند چینا گیان تو نامری ناوت بیت رمز، یعنی ژینا جان تو نمیمیری، نامت نمادی خواهد شد و چنین هم شد.
دختر 22 ساله در اثر ضرب و جرح ماموران در خودروی گشت ارشاد شدید مغزی دیده و به کما رفته است.
روز 25 شهریور با اعلام خبر درگذشت مهسا، خیزش سراسری مردمی در ایران آغاز شد.
نیمه مهر ماه دانش آموزان با انتشار عکسایی در کلاس‌های درس بدون روسری دیده شد.
دختران روسری‌های خود را در خیابان آتش زدند.
کسی به هر نحوی رو میخواد قومیتی کنه، با تمام وجودم میگم اشتباه 100%. ایران یک پارچه است، ما با هم این اداره سر
چالش جدی برای نیروهای سرکوب جمهوری اسلامی پیش آمد.
این چند روز هم بچه خیلی خوب عمل کرد، محکم وایسید، یک ذره شک نکنید به مسئله.
هفتم مهر ماه آهنگ برای توسط شروین حاجی پور منتشر شد و در سراسر جهان برای نشان دادن اعتراض خود موی سر خود را قیچی کردند و شعار زن زندگی آزادی در اعتراضات سراسری به شعار هستی معترضین بدل شد. اعدام شدند.
بچه ها سریعه گرفتیم و کم کم گذاشت بچه ها بیشتر حالت تعبون میگرفتن، کام شدن میرفتن.
هشتگ محسا امینی رو می‌بینید که الان بیش از 4,300,000 بار تکرار شده که رکوردی هست.
شرایط پایداری نیست، حد توان دامپزشکیمون داره براش
گمان نمی‌کنم دیگر کسی در جهان باشه که صدای اعتراضات ایران رو نشنیده باشه، نه فقط به خاطر کسانی که در داخل ایران رو در خیابان‌ها دارن تجمع می‌کنن، بلکه به خاطر هزاران ایرانی که در شهرهای مختلف در حمایت از این تجمعات جمع شدن.
Hundreds of San Diegans showing support today in Balboa Park for women in Iran who are protesting in the streets there.
The protests come after the death of Mahsa Amini, who died in Iranian mortality police custody. Amini was arrested for not wearing a hijab properly.
Well, the peaceful protest started at the House of Iran and ended up here at the San Diego Museum of Art. The hundreds of Iranian Americans out here today are passionate about women's rights.
Women like freedom! Women like freedom!
The chance for freedom. And a regime change in Iran are being heard across the globe. Hundreds of people walked through Balboa Park displaying their pain through signs and words all over the death of 22-year-old Mahsa Amini. There was no violence, just frustration.
This is really for freedom, freedom of choice, but love in the world.
I have very dear, wonderful friends who are Iranian, who are women, and just who are tired of being persecuted for trying to live freely and be seen as humans.
There is hope that the many protests of solidarity happening across the country can lead to change. They say at least they can show the Amini family that they are supported.
Fox 5's Sarah Legre shows us how hundreds of people marched through Balboa Park today pleading for freedom.
Hundreds marching, chanting, and rallying together at the House of Iran through Balboa Park. in protest of what they're calling an oppressive, murderous, and inhumane regime of Iran.
We don't have our fundamental rights. We are just fighting for human rights, like women's rights.
Taking her protest a step further, chopping off her hair, holding it in hand while chanting the Iranian.
Say it's a way to show solidarity with the people of Iran. Demonstrations started in September following the death of a woman held in custody by Iran's morality police. Local protesters say there are areas in Iran now targeted by the government because they are home to ethnic minorities.
To make matters worse, there are now news that is coming out about chemicals that are being used, gas that is being used on these people, and it is a genocide. The Islamic government of Iran is committing genocides to its own people within the province of Kurdistan, and I think it's very important to understand the emergency of this situation and the urgency of what is happening in this province.
Americans are now on day 2 of a hunger strike. They say they are doing it partly to stand in solidarity with the people of Iran who are now entering day 71 of protest against the Iranian regime, but also to send a message to our community.
The group has been here since yesterday afternoon, and they plan to stay here protesting through the weekend. They are demanding the UN create a plan against the Islamic Republic as soon as possible. But they also have one demand for our community, that we don't forget about their people.
All the people in Iran are in danger. They're killing everybody.
For 71 days.
And I was in that situation. I know how those kids feel when they see their dead body of their parent. Because I was with my dad.
Her father was killed in Iran when she was a little girl. She says once she became a mother, she left to get her kids out of the country. But the rest of her family is still living there.
You know, yesterday I talked with my sister and I started crying because I'm worried for them.
This fear and uncertainty have driven her to take a stand.
And that put this feeling in my body, which I have to do something for them.
سارا کمانگر و همراهانش از سازمان ملل خواستند در اقدامی فوری کشتار کردها توسط جمهوری اسلامی را جنایت علیه بشریت اعلام کنند.
گروه آیسیوین، گروه زنان ایرانی برای همکاری بین الملل و گروه فمینیست فورژینا عمدتاً خانم‌هایی بودند که از روز اول به خانم سارا کمانگر پیوستند. 96 ساعت اعتصاب غذا در مقابل سازمان ملل برای آگاه سازی و برای اینکه توجه مقامات این دفتر جلب بشه به کشتار سازماندهی شده و سیستماتیک مردم در شهرهای کردنشین ایران.
A large demonstration was held today along the Embarcadero condemning government violence against protesters in Iran.
Hundreds of people marched down Harbor Drive before gathering outside the county administration building at Waterfront Park. They waved Iranian flags and held signs supporting the ongoing protests in Iran. Protesters here in San Diego say that they plan to keep holding demonstrations until they see a change.
Regime change in Iran. We want our voices to be heard. We really do want the illegitimacy of this government. We want the release of political prisoners in Iran.
According to the United Nations, nearly 400 people have been killed so far during the protests going on in Iran.
This mural supporting protesters in Iran at the Mideast Market on El Cajon Boulevard in City Heights. People gathered there for a vigil last night, laying out those candles as you saw, all to honor the many lives who have been lost during this unrest.
Message is really to send support to Iran, and we want to put all eyes on the regime right now and on the protesters of Iran to show them this is currently happening. We need to do something about this.
زیادی از ایرانیان مقیم آمریکا در حالی که به صورت نمادین کفن به تن کرده و طناب‌های دار رو از گردنشون آویخته بودن در اعتراض به اعدام محسن شکاری با در دست داشتن پلاکاردهایی که نام زندانیان سیاسی روی اونها نوشته شده بود خواستار آزادی هموطنانشون از زندانهای جمهوری اسلامی شدند.
Rights protest was held in honor of the Iranian Revolution. That protest held by an organization called Iranians of San Diego started at 2, went to 4 in Claremont. Now this comes days after the execution of a 23-year-old protester, Mohsen Shekari, Iran's first of the movement, and nearly 3 months after the death of Mahsa Amini, and that sparked the original protest. This group today asking for folks to come out and help them amplify the lost voices of Iranians in protest of the Islamic Republic government.
But as the regime is getting more desperate, they are trying and scrambling to do everything to scare people off, because on the international stage they are losing the ground. So this execution was kind of like, do what we say or else. And that's why we are protesting again in every big city in the world.
Dozens of people gathered in Old Town to protest Iran's terrorist regime and amplify the voices for those currently fighting for their freedom. The group gathered in historic park this afternoon, chanting, holding signs, and waving the Iranian flag. Among them was Bibi Karai, and she explains what is happening in the country now that 2 young protesters have been publicly executed and 26 others are scheduled to be next.
So there is a lot of tension. The strikes are continuing. The death threats are continuing. Obviously, the protest and the unity and solidarity with them is huge.
And she also adds they are calling on the United States to cut ties with the Iranian government and close all embassies.
Iran. Every week, the Iranian community who lives here in San Diego, they gather to protest and raise awareness. This weekend, they were here in Old Town.
2 executions, one in the prison of a 23-year-old, and the second one on top of a construction crane in public in Mashhad.
Regime change for Iran! Regime change for solution, revolution!
As long as Iranians are protesting overseas, this community in San Diego says they'll be right here to echo their voices.
As long as they are killing and they are in the streets, we are not going to stop. And it's a two-way energy process. They get their energy from us, and we get our energies from them.
Here in San Diego, advocates for Iranians' rights are making their voices heard. ABC 10 News reporter Natalie Chuck spoke with them about the changes they want to see so those lives aren't lost in vain.
To think that the people of your country are dying and you can't do anything about it.
It's a heartbreaking reality for Tara Faroqi.
I remember I cried. It was really intense.
3 years later,
to remind people that this is something to be taken seriously.
Protesters in San Diego gathered to honor those lives lost in the attack, not only here outside of the Hall of Justice, and here at Solana Beach, where protesters are watching as this memorial is being built in the sand.
You don't have to be Ukrainian, you don't have to be Iranian to stand for them. If you care for humanity, you're on our side.
Flags flying for freedom and nooses representing the chokehold protesters say the violent regime still has on Iran.
Peace for Iran! برای تو کوچه رقصیدن، برای ترسیدن به وقت بوسیدن، برای خواهرم، خواهرت، خواهرامون، برای تغییر مغزها که پوسیدن، برای شرمندگی، برای بیپولی، برای حسرت یک زندگی معمولی، برای کودک زباله‌گرد و آرزوهاش، برای این اقتصاد دستوری، برای این هوای آلوده، برای ولیعصر و درختای فرسوده، برای پیروز و احتمال انقراضش، برای سگهای بیگناه ممنوعه، برای گریه های بیوقفه، برای تصویر تکرار این لحظه، برای چهره ای که میخنده، برای دانش آموزا، برای آینده، برای این بهشت اجباری، برای نخبه های زندانی، برای کودکان افغانی، برای این همه برای غیر تکراری، برای این همه شعارهای تو خالی، برای آوار خونه های پوشالی، برای احساس آرامش، برای خورشید پس از شبای طولانی، برای قرصای اعصاب و بیخوابی، برای مرد میهن آبادی، برای دختری که آرزو داشت پسر بود، برای زن زندگی آزادی.